So, what if you could take an entire country's currency and turn it into a global digital product? Well, that's exactly what's happening with the Egyptian pound. And it's a $35 billion story about tech, finance, and one seriously big idea.
To really get our heads around this massive project, we've got to start small. We have to start with a simple, everyday problem that millions of people run into, because that problem is the key to unlocking this whole thing.
All right, picture this. You're a tourist. You're wandering through the incredible, bustling streets of Cairo. You find this perfect little coffee shop, and you just want to tap your phone to pay. It should be the easiest thing in the world, right? Yeah, well, not so fast. For millions of people, tourists, foreigners living there, even international businesses, making a simple digital payment in Egypt can be a real headache. A lot of shops are cash only, or they take cards but only on their local network. So that fancy international card in your wallet, totally useless. So now you're scrambling to find an ATM, just hoping it works.
But here's where it gets interesting. That frustration, that little point of friction, it's actually a giant signpost pointing to a staggering economic opportunity. It reveals this huge, untapped global demand for an Egyptian pound that's seamless and digital.
Let's start with the most obvious group, tourists. We're talking about 19 million people showing up every single year. Just think about that. People from Germany, the UK, Saudi Arabia, all over the world, and every single one of them needs local cash for their daily spending.
And it's not just the tourists. You've got to add in the 1.1 million foreign residents. These are students, corporate execs, people from all walks of life who've made Egypt their home. They need to pay rent, buy groceries, live their lives. And they need a modern digital way to do it.
And this goes way beyond just consumers. Think about Egypt's 3.5 million small and medium-sized businesses. For them, a digital EGP would be an absolute game changer. It would slash their costs, boost their sales, and really just open up a whole new world of opportunity.
So when you add all of that up, the tourists, the residents, the businesses, you get a total annual market for a globally accessible digital Egyptian pound that's worth a mind-blowing $35.5 billion. Now, what's really interesting when you look at this breakdown is the diversity. Yeah, tourism is the biggest slice of the pie, but it can also be a bit volatile, The other parts, like foreign residents and businesses, those are way more stable. They provide this solid foundation for growth, which makes the whole market incredibly resilient and super attractive.
So the $35 billion question is, how do you build a system to actually capture this opportunity? The answer is a really groundbreaking project called Nile Bridge, and it is poised to completely revolutionize how the world interacts with the Egyptian economy.
The name really says it all. The idea is to build a high-tech financial bridge that plugs the global economy directly into Egypt's own domestic payment system. This is so key. It's not about forcing some foreign system on Egypt. It's about leveraging the banks, the ATMs, the card machines that Egyptians already use every day, and just opening the door for the rest of the world.
Now, to build a bridge this big, you need 3 key architects, and each one plays a critical role. At the very heart of it, you have a major Egyptian bank. They're the strategic core, providing all the actual EGP liquidity. Then you have EgyptPay, a UK-based fintech. They're the global coordinator, making sure everything runs smoothly and stays compliant. And finally, you have foreign banks from all over the world, who provide the app their customers already know and trust.
So think of EgyptPay as the ultimate connector. They link up all these international banks and their customers to Egypt's own domestic payment network, which is called Visa. You can kind of think of Visa as Egypt's local version of Visa or MasterCard. What this means is pretty incredible. A tourist from Germany can just use their normal German banking app to pay seamlessly on a system built for Egyptians.
Okay, so that's the big picture. But how does this all actually work in practice? How does a tourist from London really use this digital bridge to buy a souvenir in a Cairo market? Let's walk through it.
It's a beautifully simple 4-stage journey. First, the banks get all their systems connected behind the scenes. Second, a customer, let's say in London, just opens their banking app and with a few taps creates a new EGP wallet. Third, they top it up with their home currency, and it instantly converts to Egyptian pounds at a great rate. That's it. They can now spend in Cairo just like a local. The banks handle all the boring settlement stuff later on.
Now, for this entire global network to function, one player stands at the absolute center of it all. The lead Egyptian bank is the heart and soul of Project Nile Bridge. Without it, the whole system just doesn't work, period.
This project totally redefines the bank's role. It transforms it into the official global liquidity provider for the digital Egyptian pound. In simple terms, it becomes the one-stop shop for anyone, anywhere in the world who needs to get their hands on digital Egyptian pounds.
So what does it actually mean to be the operational heart of the system? Well, it comes down to 3 core jobs. 1, it opens up these big master accounts for all the foreign banks it partners with. 2, it instantly issues virtual, local music cards right into their customers' apps. And 3, and this is critical, it manages all the on-the-ground payment settlements inside Egypt, using their own domestic InstaPay and Misa networks.
So, when you zoom out, what does all this lead to? This is about something so much bigger than just making payments easier for tourists. This is about transforming the Egyptian economy and positioning it as a real leader in the digital age.
You know, this quote from the project's strategic roadmap just perfectly captures the grand ambition. The ultimate goal is to position the bank as the primary clearinghouse for EGP across 5 continents. I mean, that is a bold, bold vision. But with this system, it's one that's actually within reach.
And this leaves us with a really fascinating final question. This model, using a domestic bank, local payment systems, and a global fintech partner to take a currency digital, it's incredibly powerful. So the question isn't if other countries will try this, but when. And which one will be next? Will it be another emerging market, or maybe even a developed country? Only time will tell.